Hello and welcome back to a new video on my channel. In today's video I would like to do a bit of deep sky astrophotography. I've been waiting for clear skies for a few months now. So far there were always clouds, and when there were clear skies there was a full moon, unfortunately. Tonight there are quite good conditions, so tonight there will be no clouds. There will be a moon, but there will be a few hours where there will be no moon. Therefore I would like to capture an image of a deep sky object. So as you know, right now there is winter season and there are so many amazing constellations in the night sky right now. So for example, there's the Orion constellation right now, and there are a few amazing objects in that constellation. So I've captured the Orion constellation multiple times in the past. I've captured wide field images of the constellation, and I've even captured an image of the Orion constellation with this telescope. But tonight I would like to capture another object in that region. So tonight I would like to capture the Horsehead and the Flame Nebula. I've captured this object multiple times in the past, but only with a lens. And tonight I would like to use this big telescope to capture one of the best images of the Flame and Horsehead Nebula. So join me for a new night of astrophotography from my backyard. So as I have mentioned, in this video I would like to capture my best image of the Horsehead and Flame Nebula in the Orion constellation. Before we start, I would like to mention that this video is not sponsored and I'm not being paid for it. So all products shown in this video were purchased by myself, and the opinions about these products are my own. But before we start, I would like to introduce the setup we'll be using for tonight's astrophotography session. So the mount I would like to use is the HEQ5 Pro. It's a very reliable mount, and I've been using this mount over the past 4 years for capturing images of deep sky objects, and so far I'm really happy with that mount. So this will be the mount for tonight. It's a great option if you'd like to get started into astrophotography because you can attach multiple telescopes to that system. The telescope I would like to use for tonight is a Newtonian telescope. It's the Skywatcher 150-750 PDS Newtonian telescope. The telescope has a focal length of 750 millimeters, which is great for capturing a great image of this constellation tonight. So I really hope that this image will be quite good. I would like to use a longer exposure time tonight. Therefore, I've attached my guiding system to that telescope as well. So I'm using a guide scope in this case. It's a 60mm guide scope. At the back of the camera, I've attached my guiding camera, which will be the CWO ASI 120mm mini mono guiding cam. Furthermore, I would like to use a DSLR camera for capturing the images of the Horsehead and Flame Nebula. So for tonight, I would like to use the Canon EOS 2000D, simply because this is the best DSLR camera I have. I as well have the Canon EOS 450D, the Canon EOS 600D, and the Canon EOS 2000D. Later on, I would like to attach the camera to the telescope. So since this is a Newtonian telescope, I would like to use a chroma corrector in order to achieve great images of that object. So this is everything about the setup. For controlling the entire setup, I would like to use the CWO ASI Air Pro. So I've attached that Astro computer on the other side of the telescope. So this is the entire astrophotography setup for tonight. So now we need to wait a few more hours until it's dark enough for capturing these images of the Orion constellation. So I'm really interested because the camera is not astro modified. So I'm really interested how much of this H alpha I can capture in the Horsehead Nebula. So I'm really interested in that. So I would like to use an exposure time of 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, so something in that range, depending on the conditions tonight. So now we need to wait for a few more hours until it's dark enough to do the pole alignment process, and we can start aligning the entire telescope, and then we can start imaging the objects I've planned to capture for tonight. So wish me luck. So we see us later when we do the pole alignment process and when we start imaging the Horsehead and Flame Nebula. Feel free to write and comment down below whether you have ever captured these two objects with your telescope. So I'm really interested in that. So this is everything I'd like to mention so far. So wish me luck, and we'll see us later. So right now it's already dark. As you can see, my telescope is already capturing images of the night sky. So I've decided to capture the Andromeda Galaxy in the very first part of the night. Later on, I would switch to the Canon EOS 2000D, and then I will move the telescope towards the Orion constellation. So as I have already mentioned in the beginning of this video, the plan is to capture a wide field image of the Horsehead and Flame Nebula. So this is what we'll do later on. So as you can hear, the telescope is capturing images right now of the Andromeda Galaxy with the Canon EOS 450D. But later on I will switch the camera and the object. So that's everything I'd like to mention. So I've done the pole alignment process, the telescope is in perfect focus, so everything is already ready. So I'm planning to capture the Andromeda Galaxy for the next few minutes, and then I'll switch towards the Horsehead and Flame Nebula. I'm planning to use an exposure time of 1 to 2 minutes or something in that range, maybe 3 minutes. I'm not 100% sure about that one. I will decide that later on when taking the test images. So as I have already mentioned in the beginning of this video, there will be the full moon in a few hours. So I really hope that I can capture enough exposure time to capture a great image of the Horsehead and Flame Nebula. After aligning my telescope, I captured images of the Horsehead and Flame Nebula for over 2 hours. This night I had no idea that this would become my best image of these two objects so far. The next morning I combined and stacked the single images to create this final image, which has a total exposure time of approximately 2.5 hours. Each image has an exposure time of approximately 1 minute. Unfortunately, due to the relatively short exposure time, the noise of the camera is quite noticeable. Even though the total exposure time was relatively short, I was impressed by how much details I was able to capture. The structures in both the Horsehead and Flame Nebula are clearly visible, making this my best image of these two objects so far. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask me down below in the comments. And if this video was interesting to you, I would really appreciate a like and a subscription. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Clear skies, Felix.